Welcome to another episode of It's a Long Road, the Rambo series podcast. I am your host, Ryan, and with me today, of course, is Dom. Dom, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing really good. I'm doing really well. I want to say, Dom, that since your official addition as my co-host, the feedback has been positive. I talk to people like who are friends of the show and things like that, and our comments on YouTube or on our Facebook page, and everyone loves having you on. They say, actually, I got a text message from a buddy that I've podcasted with who listens to our show, and he thinks you're great. They think you're funny. You're a great addition to the show. Yeah, so
appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be a part of this.
one person actually said they're looking forward to our Mafia show. So when
awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun.
When we're done with the Rambo series, we're going to start off with the Mafia film series. Now, we did come up with the name. I got to go back and look at it. What was it called again? Maple syrup and rifles or something? Or what was it called again?
Maple syrup and bullets.
That's right. Nobody take that name from us. Maple syrup and bullets.
I think we're good. I don't think there's going to be another podcast going to take it.
Who knows? Maybe somebody out of spite. So speaking of spite...
we may be making enemies.
We are making enemies wherever we go, Dom. People have the right to not like us. And this is not what I'm about to talk about, has nothing to do with that right. Obviously, you have every right to not like us. You have every right to not allow what we do to be on whatever you're producing as a fan forum, a Facebook page. I respect the rights of that. I also have the Facebook page is called the Rambo or the Rocking the Rambo podcast series Facebook page. It's where I plug both my shows on that page. And absolutely, I have taken out either a negative comments, like not towards me per se, but just towards other people, because it's supposed to be a fun, safe place. So, right. And I totally understand that. I've also policed things that get posted if it's got nothing to do with either the podcast or it's just kind of police it and try to keep it towards the podcast, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Rambo, Rocky, Stallone Facebook groups where they just look at this picture. That's great. Don't get me wrong. There is a forum been around for about 15, 20 years. It's been around probably before Facebook even started, called the Stallone Zone Forum. It is a forum that Sly himself has actually entered, chatted with people on.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. It's like sacred ground. It's like the internet mecca of Stallone fandom.
All things Stallone.
All things Stallone. Now, in the advent of previously said Facebook pages, Instagram pages, the Stallone Zone, I don't know if it holds the same, I would say value is the right word, but there's just so much now that they may have been one of the first, one of the biggest at a time. People don't really go to forums as much as they used to. It's the old school message board threads, because you have Reddit now. You have all these other very user-friendly. But I salute the Stallone Zone Forum for continuing, for being a active site. I'm always very careful. I don't like to always plug my shows, because people think when you plug a podcast or something like that, you're just plugging, give me numbers. I do like to share the show, not because I want to get numbers as much as I want to let people know, hey, I do a podcast dedicated to the Rocky franchise and to the Rambo franchise. And we also do episodes dedicated to Sly films. People who happen to be Stallone fans might also want to hear a podcast episode or YouTube video on the same topic. That's all. If you don't want to listen to it, by all means, don't listen to it.
Potentially be the target audience on pages like that.
You think so? Like if I shared a Rambo podcast in a Bruce Willis fan group, they'd be like, come on, man, what are you doing? Like, sure, there might be some crossover with Stallone and Bruce fans, but then you're just, I tried to advertise where I think there would be Stallone fans without over advertising, or I don't want to spam. About 2 months ago, I finally got the bravery just to post especially when we started Rambo 4. I got excited about this season, so I started posting in the Stallone Zone saying, hey, but the name of the individual who I think who runs the Stallone Zone Forum, his name is Craig. So I said, hey, Craig, is it okay if I share it? So I shared it, but with the title underneath the sharing of the video, of the YouTube video, hey, Craig, is it okay if I share my podcast here? If not, just let me know, and I just will never do it again. He gave me the thumbs up. And all I would do was just share the link to the YouTube episode, and that's it. I wouldn't say, come listen, or you have to listen. And I got some views. Right. Nobody really commented, or I don't think anyone commented, but nobody said, go away, or what are you doing here? Because Craig gave the thumbs up. Okay. Fast forward now, 1 or 2 months later, we released the controversial episode.
It's hitting the press. It's very controversial. People are talking about it everywhere.
We started a segment on our John Rambo season. The reason why people say, Ryan, why are you doing this? Maybe they don't like it. I think people are liking it. No one has, as of yet, has written us, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or email, that we hate this Frank Stallone segment. In fact, the opposite has happened. People want us just to do a Frank Stallone podcast.
I saw that.
Which will not happen. I could not focus, even though we almost do. I just don't think I could actually create a podcast.
What about what you've done here with the Action Heroes Network? Just a Frank Stallone network. Everybody has a podcast about Frank Stallone.
Oh, man. In that episode, this is episode 2 of our Frank. And yes, folks, we are doing episode 3 today. Buckle up. This is a supersized episode today. We are going to get to Rambo 4.
So
we're going to get to a scene in Rambo 4, but there's a lot to cover today, folks. Now, the reason why I kind of introduced these segments of if we find another podcast talk about Rambo or now the Frank Stallone episodes that we're doing is because we're going to get through this film very fast. We're already halfway through the film. We're 4 episodes deep into the season. So this could have been if we didn't talk about anything but the movie, we'd be done in 7 to 8 episodes easy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to not drag it out, but I just want to talk more about Rambo.
Savor it a little bit, you know?
And I'm having a fun podcast with you. It's not going to be 25 episodes long this season, but I didn't want to end it in 7 episodes.
Right.
At the end of the day, if nobody cares, I'm having fun. You're having
fun.
I'm
having fun too.
That's right. We did that episode last week. In that episode, we talked about plastic surgery on Jackie, the mother of Frank and Sly, and we talked about then, of course, the plastic surgery and the hair plugs regarding the men. In a humorous way, we talked about how we feel, which is our right to talk how plastic surgery, in my opinion, disfigures people. Okay?
And you said it best, too, about not worshiping celebrities. Like, listen, we love Stallone, obviously. Sure. I love so many actors, musicians, but I try to separate, too, because I don't know these people on a personal level. I try to separate the art from the artist and stuff like that.
So we released this episode. I posted the release of it, just like we've always done, John Rambo episode 4 in the Stallone Zone. Mm-hmm. Now, the good news is this is some good news and bad news. The good news is we have listeners. Hey, Tom.
I like the way you're spinning it. You're spinning it in the most positive way.
Thank you. So the good news is we have people that listen to our show, and we have people that listen to our show. The Stallone Zone links were working. People were watching our podcast.
Well, really, you can't forget that was like, what was that, halfway through the episode? So they listened to enough of it.
Yeah, so they didn't arbitrarily listen. In fact, somebody was listening to the live or watching the live premiere of the YouTube video, and they actually made a comment. I think when we got to the nitty-gritty of stuff, they actually removed their comment because they didn't want to be associated with the show anymore.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
That's big, too. People don't want to be associated with us.
Yeah.
That's big.
Okay, so there was that. So I thought that was weird. I saw this happen. So I was actually watching the live premiere. Not a lot of people watch the live premiere. We only get a few handful watches on our YouTube channel. I get it. So I thought, why did they retract that comment? Because it was actually a positive part of the conversation with the episode comment, right? But they retracted it later on in the episode. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Then throughout the day, some part of the day, I just went to Stallone Zone to say, hey, I wonder how many views my link to this episode has gotten within a day. And then that's when I got that big sticker banner saying, you have been banned from the Stallone Zone Forum. I'm like, I've been banned. So my first thought was that it was because I was posting or spamming the episode. Mm-hmm. But I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because Craig, who owns the episode, owns the forum, and he does have other moderators, right? And I don't know how much the other moderators talk with each other. Do they take a vote? So I've got a couple theories. I think what happened is there was somebody who was watching our show, did watch that show, and they weren't happy with what I did. So I tweeted Craig of the Stallone Zone. I don't know if he even listens to his tweets, saying, hey, I got banned from your forum. What's going on? Right. And then I also posted that same thing on the Facebook page to see if anyone would respond there. Now, somebody did. I screenshotted it, but right after I screenshotted it, I deleted and blocked them from the Facebook page because my friend, it's called fair play.
Exactly.
That's right. If you don't allow
me fire with fire,
that's right. I allowed them to make their comment, but I want to make this clear. I'm going to say, dude, don't think you can kick me out of your establishment, right? And then you can come into my establishment, spit on my kitchen floor, and say, this is why you're not allowed. No, you're not allowed on my kitchen either. Okay. I want to make that clear. I don't want this person to, why'd you block me? But it proved my theory that I had a feeling somebody from the forum, some administrator, saw our video, didn't like the cut of our jib, and banned us.
If you showed a photo of Jackie Stallone to 9 out of 10 people, if they didn't know who she was, and you're like, how do you think this lady looks? They would say the same thing we said.
All right, so we got Franklin Stallone.
The comments. We're in trouble here.
Okay. So Franklin Stallone has joined the chat. So this is who dares to offend me. This is what you get when you damn Canadians think you can insult the national treasures like my family's, the Stallones. Keep talking, bucko. My lawyer is going to have a field day. Okay. I didn't realize we weren't allowed to talk about celebrities. I do apologize. I guess Saturday Night Live better get their lawyers ready for mocking celebrities every week.
I can't believe Frank Stallone has joined the chat on StreamYard.
Thank you, Franklin Stallone. Okay, so here it is. So this is the individual who messaged us on Facebook. He made it clear, because I asked the question in my Facebook group, why did we get banned from the group? And he said, mocking Sly's hair system, Frank's alleged hair plugs, and seriously mocking the late. I love that, the late. Okay, now because they're dead, we can't say anything. Yeah, you can't say anything. She lived to 100. I think, it's a full life. The late Jackie's facial cosmetic surgery is the reason why you were banned. Thank you for sharing with us. It actually did confirm my theory as to why. I'm actually glad that somebody stepped up to the plate. I don't know if this is a moderator, but the fact that he was that specific tells me he's at least heard the episode that we posted, and there has to be a connection between his association with the Stallone Zone Forum. Though I do find it interesting that he did respond to us on the Facebook page, which means, does he follow me on Facebook? On the Facebook page? Because how would he know that I posted this? Frank Stallone wants to say the hair plugs is fake news. Okay.
Who is this guy?
I don't know. First, I love how it says we're mocking Sly's hair system. I love how it did admit that, yes, Sly has a hair system.
He called it a hair system. Yeah.
Well, you know who else has a hair system? You know who else does? Howard Stern.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Now, I love Howard Stern. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's a great shock jock and all this stuff. I'm not going to pretend he doesn't have fake hair. Guess who else has a hair system that I love? Bruce Springsteen. Bono from U2. Bruce Willis for many years. John Travolta for many years.
Oh, John Travolta.
He wore a toupee and he pretended it wasn't. But guess what? I enjoy his movies. You can mock, yes, Stallone Zone guys. You can mock people and enjoy their product and do the both. You can mock us and listen to our show. You can say that I have a fat face. Maybe I do.
Say that I have a fat potato bald head. You can go ahead and say
because Dom does. But you could. So Sly does have a hair system, and I dare say Frank must have gotten. There's no way that Sly has a hair system and Frank doesn't. The hair coming out of Frank's head. Are you trying to tell me that's all the hair that he was born with? There's nothing cosmetically done there.
Exactly. The hairline, no way.
And seriously mocking the late Jackie's facial cosmetic surgery. Here's a picture here of beautiful Jackie.
Whew.
And it's unfortunate that this happened. This is me not even I'm not making fun. I think it's unfortunate. Now I'm showing you this picture. Here is a 98-year-old woman, and here's who the people we should be celebrating. You're right. So maybe we shouldn't be mocking. I'm actually mocking the plastic surgery. I may be mocking the choices that were made. That's all. People can say, I don't agree with you talking about it. That's their right. I don't agree with somebody destroying their face. That's my right to feel that way. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, that's healthy. Hey, you should do that. Hey, I want my daughter and my sons to do that to their face. Why would I say that? I think it's wrong. Do you look at this woman there, Dom, and say to yourself, oh my gosh, she's so old. Gross.
She aged gracefully,
She aged gracefully. That's someone's grandmother, someone's mother. And guess what she looks like, folks? She looks like she might be 100 years old. People age. People age.
Natural.
What's great about this news story, this is a real news story, by the way, is that she got her driver's license at the age of 98, her driver's license renewed, so she could drive a friend from the home to the grocery store.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, isn't that sweet? Okay. Every forum and every group has the right to do whatever they need to do to kick people in, keep people. That's totally their right. I agree with it. And so I'm not even disagreeing with being banned. And I do appreciate Staz saying, Ryan, this is the reason why. There's fans of these groups of people, whether it's Sly, Bruce, Arnold, Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC. All you guys have got to settle down. Your fan worship of your fake things that don't exist. It's weird. Exactly. And Sly is just a guy. And it's a guy that I enjoy. I think he has fun movies. I enjoy him, but do I agree with all his politics? Do I agree with the way what he does to his face? Will I do those things to my face? No, I don't agree with those things. And I wouldn't do that to myself, and I wouldn't promote it. I wouldn't even pretend because I enjoy his things. I agree with everything he does. No, I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to push back. I think it's unfortunate that people have destroyed their face.
I feel like a lot of these people, the Stallones, they go down like a spiral. They do one thing, that's what it looks like happened to Jackie.
Yeah. All right, so there you go, folks. Now, if you don't want to see the episode of Frank's this week with Frank Stallone, who is this guy? If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. Skip near the end. We're doing about 7 minutes of the Rambo 4 at the end.
Frank Stallone's going wild in the comments right here.
Frank's very upset with us. He basically says that they're going to be studying the Italian Stallone genes for generations to come. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Okay.
And here's another segment of Frank Stallone. Who is this guy?
Frank is back.
So I don't know who his camera guy is, but this is got to be the most thankless job. This guy falling around with his cell phone camera.
Frank is back.
Frank is back. He does a couple comments. He's like this very monotone hype guy in the background. Frank is back.
I wish I could get that job.
Good job, Frankster. Like, could you imagine being the guy and you're the hype guy with the camera? These little side commentaries
for Frank Stallone.
Oh my gosh!
Look at that. We have Rambo in the house.
Well, he's wearing his Rambo shirt, so that's very fitting for our show today.
Nice. We're getting it. Getting back.
You're getting it, the guy says. Coming back. It's about the comment section here on this one too. Read this here. He says, "This has been a long, bumpy road back to being healthy. I want to thank China for the airborne virus." I think it's referring probably to his sickness, probably the voice, the cough, Okay. All right. Now, the segues aren't very good here. So segue 1. His back is a much neglected body part, especially for women and men as well. That's what he says. But especially for women. Just look at the gals at the Oscars wearing strapless gowns with fat back.
What is his beef with women? Last time he said something with women too, right? What did he say?
Oh, I can't remember. I can't keep up with the Frankster. No excuse for that back.
Fat back.
No excuse for that, comma.
No commas.
Yeah. The back responds quickly. Nothing more aesthetic than a well-developed back for men and women. So he's a big back guy. So Frank goes on to say, "It's amazing. Most of your comments are very encouraging, but you always have the lazy haters calling me sexist when I'm giving pointers."
He just called out women specifically and said they have fat backs.
Hey, not too lazy, Frank. They took the time to watch your video and comment. I mean, how lazy is that? I mean, I love it when someone speaks what they consider to be their truth or their highly regarded opinion, or even if it's something that is quote unquote true, because they hold it as a value to themselves, that everyone too must hold that same value. And if you don't hold that same value that I do, then you are then a hater.
Right. You're wrong.
You don't have to agree with us, but I'm not going to call you a name. This is where Frank loses points for me. Frank, calling them names, what's the point of that? You're a 70-year-old man calling people names. The name calling to me is always a last ditch effort. You're unable to communicate your point effectively.
Right. He doesn't have an argument.
All right. Here's one here. Her name is Anne-Marie. "To each his own. Never believed in body shaming a man or a woman." And then Frank responded with, "They are shaming themselves, not me."
Doesn't understand.
You fat pieces of crap walking out there. You're shaming yourselves. So
you should be disappointed.
Anne-Marie goes on to say, "You're a prime example of a high level of endurance and stamina." So there you go. So she's trying to say, look, good for you. You're working out. You're strong. So happy you're feeling well again. Just know my comment did not come from a bad place. You seem to be a good influence on people in general. That in itself is a wonderful trait. So bless Anne-Marie's heart by saying, look, you're living healthy. You found health. So our time alone, and I'm a father. I know Frank, I don't think he is a father. No offense to Frank. But what I'm saying is, throughout his whole life, has he ever had to take time to, on a daily basis, raise a child or more than one child in his home without any help? And then in that time, he's had to go to work as well. And then in that time, maybe we don't get to buy the best food in the world or the best exercise. You work full time. I work full time. Gee, I worked 8, 9, 10 hours today. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come home, instead of helping the wife with the kids and the homework and all that stuff, I'm going to go to the gym for 4 hours.
Yeah, because I don't want to have fat back.
Because I don't want to have a fat back. Now, I'm okay. I'm happy with myself, but I'm saying this for anyone that is struggling. So bless Anne-Marie's heart for trying to say something. Here's another one from Summer Breeze. She says, I'm a firm believer in having a nice back. I was always told that I had one, but I never thought about it too much. Now I understand how important it is to have a slim, nice back, especially a woman. I actually posted a pic of my back recently. You're looking good. Keep it up. So that was from Summer Breeze 120.
Wow.
Yeah. So Frank wrote back, good for you. It's very attractive.
Ooh, it's getting hot and heavy in here in this comment section.
I'm a firm believe. I should just read things as they're written and not as.
That's how you have to do it, I think.
I know. I'm a firm believe in having a nice back. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're a firm believe. Thank you for your kind words, says Summer Breeze. Yeah. Everyone's just stroking each other. You're
just
pretty.
Got nauseous at that whole exchange.
Yeah, you're pretty. You're handsome. All right. This one goes on to say, Frankie's days in the gym are far from over. And Frank says, it's a work in progress. Here's the question. Does Instagram break your balls with politics and language? I love it. It's hysterical. What? Where's the segue on that? I'm not
He's
sure.
on another planet, Frank, I think.
No, we will break your balls there, Frank. Don't worry about it. Here we go. Frank Stallone. Most people are very lazy, and they try to lay their negative trip on anybody that works out and has a good body. Doesn't bother me. My mom worked till she was almost 99. Okay. All right.
If we're going to go ahead and talk about Jackie Stallone again, what did his mother do until she was 99?
She stayed alive. I know she did. Here's the thing. Their family's very gym-centric. They work out. Frank's fly. And the mom, I know she did she was involved with wrestling and other stuff. Right. And she's worked out with her sons. There's videos and photos. That's fine. Great.
Look at somebody like The Rock. He's like, he lives in the gym, that guy. He's just in the gym 24/7.
Yeah, it's insane. Here's the thing, Frank, and anyone else. I don't care. I'm not shaming you for going to the gym. I don't care. Don't shame me for not going to the gym because I don't care. I don't care that you go. And that's
the thing. You don't know people's real life situations.
No. Well, it's a bubble. It's a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a message from Shaken with Lisa. She questions, gals with fat backs, you should read your comments out loud before you post them. Jeez. Frank responded, of course, I do. It's the truth. You should work your back muscles so you have good posture. What's wrong with looking?
And then period. Out of all the comments he missed, he put a period after that.
Yeah, he did punctuate that one. What's wrong with you looking? If you read it, I mentioned men as well. It's not always about you.
That's what Frank needs to say to himself. It's not always about
Frank,
you.
It's not always about you, dude. That's exactly Frank. You're assuming that because you live a certain way, why aren't people living the same way?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, why is it hurtful? It's the truth. You have one body, and why not take care of it? We talked about plastic surgery. I agree. Totally agree, Frank. You should take care of it. You shouldn't destroy it. You should treat it with respect, with dignity. Eat well, exercise, go for walks. It doesn't always have to be about the gym and weights. I think a lot of these gym rats are really focused on gotta have weights. Eat healthy, go for walks, enjoy nature, mental health, all that good stuff. You don't have to have freaking biceps.
I like the way when she responded, she was like, just look at the gals wearing strapless. She's quoting him.
Yeah.
And she says, you never mention posture. You just say Oscar with fat backs.
He also mentioned aesthetic, and he also spelt it wrong. Doesn't matter. He mentioned the aesthetics of how it looks. Frank, we get it. An attractive person is an attractive person. A body that's put together well, we know what it is. I don't think there's any overweight person that thinks to themselves, I like this. I kind of like not being able to get out of my seat quickly. It's unfortunate, but what are they dealing with? Mental health issues too, probably. Exactly. Who knows? Depression. All these things are real, Frank, that people might not have access to resources that you have. The comments came out. People have had some things to say, so Frank's going to respond to that. Here we go.
It's Friday.
in the gym working hard. Voice is coming back slowly. Listen, there were some comments made about me being a sexist and because talking about people staying in shape. I don't think anyone wants fat back, either girls or guys. But you can remedy that. All I'm doing is trying to help. So if you get defensive about it, it's probably because you're not doing the best that you can take care of yourself.
Again, I'm saying this regarding people like Frank or people who are in the situation of power, in that because they find themselves in a place of success and or whatever it might be, and they're like, how come you're not where I am mentality? I hate that type of mentality. I've worked with bosses like this, and people at work. We have neighbors like this, or even friends or family members who could be like this. They might be at a place of success, whether it's health, money, stature, marriage health, or whatever it could be, a healthy place. And they look around the how come people aren't where I am? And then if I say something, I'm just trying to help you. And fat back is gross. Get to the freaking gym, you lazy bum. That's now maybe if you really want to help people, maybe start I don't know, an exercise regime video, proper exercise steps or proper diet tips. But here's the thing, we all know it. There's not anyone that doesn't know it. Like,
right.
Don't eat sugar, go for a walk. We all know what we're supposed to do. Anyways,
there's so many different people who just have weight problems, have life stress. Not everybody can stay at the gym. Not everybody has Sylvester Stallone as a brother. Let's face it.
I know. These two. I don't know why I feel a little bit passionate. I guess because I have kids. I also have kids. I worry about their health, and I worry about what the messages they're hearing from celebrities and people. And it's just like in the images they see. I'm happy that Frank's healthy. If everyone went to the gym, it wouldn't bother me. If everyone did weights, it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the people doing the weights. I think there are people who don't go to the gym because of people like Frank, because they walk in fat. They walk in a little bit overweight, and they're like, oh, it's my first day. It's my first day at the gym. Have you ever seen a fat person jog? We see it, and I think to myself, the mean part of you is like, oh, a lot of good that's doing. No.
Right.
That's his first day. That's right. That's their first day or their first week. And so sometimes people don't want to go to the gym because we think, oh, look at that guy. Look at him.
Look at them.
So don't put down people, guys and girls that work out and try to keep their body as their temple. I mean, you were given the gift of all these things: sight, hearing, taste, walking. Use it.
Puts down everybody else. He's like, don't put down me. Basically.
Don't put down me and my people. Yeah, we're basically saying we've got life figured out. We're healthy. We're in a good place. You're not in a good place, sure. And because you're not liking how I'm saying things, it's back on you again. Everything deflects off. He's Frank the Tank. Nothing penetrates his armor, right? It all deflects off.
Don't get lazy. And if you're on a trip like that, just don't come to my site. Because I'm not sexist. I'm the furthest thing from it. But if being in shape is sexist, then you got some serious problems. But on top of that, have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning into the show. And we'll talk to you soon.
So being in shape is sexist. No, that's not what people are saying.
He's so disconnected from actually listening to people too.
And he says he's the furthest thing from a sexist. The furthest thing. Anyone that has to proclaim what they are.
Yeah, if you have to say I'm the furthest thing from a sexist, you're probably sexist.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to end there. There's a lot to go over today. Just to recap, at the very least here, folks, just to recap. I just want to say I respect every fan site to have their rules and regulations. I guess what kind of bothered me was because I made fun of a couple of celebrities. At the end of the day, we were making fun of them. People, I love it how people get to make fun of Trump. People can make fun of Biden. People can make fun of Sly, for Pete's sakes, on Saturday Night Live or whatever, or Mad TV. They make fun of Seagal. That's what celebrities are for. Every celebrity, from Britney Spears to Bono from U2 to Michael Jackson, they've all been parodied. They've all been mocked. They've all been made fun of. Because Dom and I aren't Saturday Night Live, I guess we are banned from doing so. We're not allowed to mock people.
Freedom of speech, you know.
On top of Frank, we're going to continue watching you. You're great. Keep plugging the Family Stallone show. Did you watch the latest episode, by the way, Dom?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to catch up at some point.
Yeah. Well, they got 6 episodes down now, so it was actually It was a really, really good one. For those who have watched it, and I'll speak to them really quick. Scarlett, the oldest, I believe it's Scarlett's the oldest. She had open heart surgery when she was a baby. I didn't know that. Yeah, there's a real tender moment there where Sly and his oldest daughter are talking about those scary moments in their life with the heart. Sly was tearing up. It was really, you could tell it wasn't acting, because if it was acting, they give Sly the Oscar, right? Hair plug jokes aside, I really like the guy, and I think he's a good dad, and he loves his daughters, and he really loves his daughters. They're actually very sweet girls. They seem very well put together, very well loved. At the very least, he seems to really love his wife and kids, and I can't mock, which is unmockable, meaning they're actually good daughters. They seem to be like very good kids, very well rounded. And of course, they have money and opportunity, but that's not their fault, or that's not a bad thing. They've had life given to them. That's fine. But Sly loves them. He seems like he does really care about them.
And listen, as long as they don't end up like Frank Stallone, they should be good.
They know that. Like they have red flags about Frank, man. They said it on the show. Yeah. All right. So before we get into the Rambo 4 scenes, there are also actually a couple of things to go over here. Did you know, this is from Chris Grant, one of our top fans of our show. He sent us a link here to YouTube of the deleted scene of the Rambo 3 knife making scene. So in Rambo Part 3, Rambo made a knife. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so let's watch it, and I want to hear your thoughts after.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm going to go back and watch it again with the sound off, just so I can release it on YouTube with no music. Okay, and then we'll talk about what we're seeing, and we'll have that for the audio release. Okay, so this is a really kind of a cool scene. The music that you're not hearing on the audio version here is basically the Rambo sequence. Basically, got Rambo or Sly working a forge, making this big kick-ass knife. As we'll see as we cover in the Rambo 4 film, John Rambo, this is basically done again.
Right.
They did it again, because he's almost doing the exact same type of movement, sweating, and yeah. Now, what I love about this as well is that intercut with him putting together this knife, like making it from scratch, he's also getting his gear ready. He's pulling gear out that he seems to have boxed away from his Rambo 2 days. What are your thoughts there?
I like that. I like to see the uniform in there.
So right now we see explosive arrowheads. He's looking at them. He's got the bow and arrow. And it's just a great little mini montage. It's like a montage within a montage. So you got the knife-making montage. Then behind the knife-making montage, you see him basically pulling out of storage his Rambo 2 gear. Don, why did they cut this out?
I guess maybe for time. But you could tell that Stallone liked it. He basically put it in 4.
Okay, I'm going to screenshot this right now while I have it here. Just bear with me, folks. I'm going to put this on Reddit, on an Army Reddit site, and ask them, what medals do we have here?
Yeah, that's smart.
Reddit's awesome for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They call that the dress uniform. I don't know if you've heard that before. Police have it, Army, Navy, Air Force. It's just like when you have parades or special events. This is when you put on your jacket and tie and type thing, and you have your medals ready to go there. Yeah, that's really cool. Why did they take this out? Because you see the J Rambo. That
is cool.
And what's cool is that he kept it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the book, though, Rambo First Blood, or it's actually, I think it was part 2 of the novel, part 2 that David Morrell wrote. He destroys his medals, I think.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Yeah, or buries them or something, yeah. At least the medals, those are what they're called, ribbons there, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So here you go, John Rambo, 936-01-1758. Okay, so that could be his service number or something. Yeah, it's 50 seconds long. Why would they cut this from the film?
Yeah, what was Rambo 3's runtime again? What was it about?
I think it's the longest of the films.
Is it?
I think so. But they got to cut the boy out asking the stupid questions.
Exactly. Maybe they felt it slowed the pace down.
Anyways, that's cool. Okay. Now, the next video I want to show, this is also from Chris. This ties into our scene today. This was taken from the behind-the-scenes video footage of the Rambo for making of. Is Sly talks about... We asked the question regarding... Remember when he threw the knife into the fire?
Yes.
Why would he do that? Is he... I think we even said, Sly gives the answer what was in Rambo's head at the time, but then how it might not have worked for the film. But they still should have kept it because... They show Rambo building a new knife.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we speculate this? Remind me, because I've seen the answers. So I don't want to give it away. But didn't we speculate that it was because Rambo kind of said, I'm done with this?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Okay. Louise joined the chat. He says that he's removed Franklin from the chat. He stepped in and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louise.
Policing the comments section.
You know, it's funny. I've never seen Louise and Franklin in the chat at the same time.
Franklin's in here probably telling everybody they got the fat backs and stuff. So
Yeah.
got to get them out.
And people were calling them fat racks, by the way, on the comment section. It's terrible. This is really kind of cool behind the scenes. So we'll play this out.
In the movie, there was a scene, Rambo goes back and destroys the pirate's boat. And that was shot several ways. One, I played the character, very aggressive and angst-filled.
So we talked about that. So that's what we're watching. That's the John Rambo.
Yeah.
Now, this is a DVD set or whatever. So this is called the alternate scene, but the John Rambo version of the movie we're seeing the alternate scene. So that is why we asked, why is he so angry? Why is he so angry about this?
He had himself that he'd gotten involved, that he'd been pulled back in, that the beast is out.
Now, we said that. We called it, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We said that he was pissed off because it got awakened in him again, that he was angry again, that the PTSD had come back.
He had to bring himself to that place again.
Yeah.
And I used my knife from Rambo 2, and I stabbed the gas cans and cut the boats loose. And as I set it on fire, I throw the knife, symbolizing that it's over.
So we talked about the stabbing of the cans. So why is he stabbing the cans? So essentially, he was out of anger. That's all. It wasn't out to get the gas out, the fuel out faster. It was just that he was pissed off.
Then he poured him with
Yeah. Well, we were confused. Why is he stabbing the cans? He was just pissed off. He was just. It's like when you punch a hole in the wall. Like, why are you putting I'm putting in a new window. So he threw away the knife to symbolize it's over. I'm done with this crap. I've sent these missionaries to their death. I'm done.
As the knife sinks, I sink out of the film. Well, it just didn't seem to ring true at that moment. So I had to make a new knife. And I thought, well, you know what? Again, here's where a mistake of sorts turns into a good thing.
So I guess he really lost the knife.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
that's what he's saying. He's saying I threw the knife with the boat, and when we blew it up, it sank.
Oh, so he really? Oh, it really sank.
So we filmed me throwing away the knife, but I also threw away the knife.
Right. Surprised Frank Stallone didn't jump in that water and rescue that knife.
He wanted something different, something that hasn't been seen, hasn't been used, and he drew this out on a little piece of paper.
The knife is reflective of the situation that we're going into a savage heart, a savage darkness, a brutal hand-to-hand situation. So the knife lacks any kind of sophistication, it lacks a balance. It is just meant to be confrontational and lethal, up close and personal.
Sly, I agree with you 100%, but this is where, to quote Robert De Niro in Copland, you blew it! You blew it! Because he talked about the very thing that we say this movie's lacking is that hand-to-hand, personal, in-your-face confrontation. So he's saying they wanted to create a new designed knife. It's sort of like a half machete, half like long-ass knife. He's never seen anything like it before because he wanted to get up close and personal. That's exactly what needed to happen in part 4. That didn't happen, did it? Other than the killing of the bad guy at the end. Am I missing any other knife death scenes? Am I missing? I can't remember.
I don't think so, no.
Imagine if he went into that freaking base, like I said, and just freaking like slit throats and
slaughtered everybody.
Taking off people's faces, taking off people's heads. I'm serious, like because he said that's the design of the knife, but then they didn't do that.
Yeah, it's strange choice.
When Rambo is fashioning a knife, he's actually fashioning himself. He is one with this weapon. He's rekindling that beast inside.
We started out with a truck.
It's like a beast inside.
I turn my hat backwards and I'm like a truck.
Ready to get to that beast building scene. Paulie's voice? How can you do Paulie's voice?
It turned into my sister turned into a freaking loser.
Do Paulie talking to Rambo about the beast inside? You haven't peaked yet?
Rambo, what about the beast? You still have him left in the basement?
I got this beast inside. See me, boy?
Are you mad that Cole left you?
She didn't leave me, Paulie. Cole died.
She died. I don't want to remember. You had the good times with Cole. I didn't.
She's busted.
You're not a virgin anymore. You had sex with her, Rambo. She's not a virgin anymore. I wish Burt Young was just, you could just edit him right into Rambo.
Oh man! If I had the money and it's because I could give the direction to somebody to piece something together. Yeah, with the AI voices and stuff you could do now, you could almost.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And basically, we heated the truck spring, and Sly worked with his hammer, and this is like a 6-pound hammer, and it's got a steel shaft in it, and it's heavy. And he beat this hammer all night and started out with the original truck spring.
Yeah, he beat that hammer all night.
He beat that hammer all night long.
We heated it. He started making shapes. He started beating it, and 15 hours later, he ended up making this knife.
It's a real forge, and the knife was, I don't know, a couple thousand degrees. It just heated up to the point where I was going to do it just with a rag around my hands, and I had to put in these industrial leather gloves, soaked them in ice water.
Well, after we burned the first 4 pair of gloves, that's how hot his hands were. I mean, actually burned the gloves. We ended up going through 7 more after the first 4. And we were very fortunate to have actually broke into a store and found 7 more pair, and we went through everything. Went through 11 pairs of gloves that evening while he was forging his knife for the movie.
If you were making the knife in actual time.
Why does Sly have to do everything so hard?
That's why you gotta love Stallone. He literally forged the knife himself. Like, why would he do this? He could have been sitting in the corner smoking a cigar, like just watching somebody else do it.
That's why we love him. My hands were gone.
I could stop my hands from burning. Could you picture the people on set like advising him not to do that? Like producers and stuff were probably like, no, please, Sly.
Would have time for it to cool and take your time about it. But this had to have a certain sort of momentum, so you had to deal with molten steel constantly. Let's just say I had a very warm handshake for a long, long time.
Oh, Sly, you.
Even those one-liners.
You, Sly. We love him. Great. Thank you, Chris. Chris from our, he often replies on our Facebook page. So if you haven't already joined our Facebook page, just Google or whatever, search for the Rambo and Rocky or Rocky and Rambo series podcast on Facebook. Join our page because people will comment there sometimes and share links there. So that was actually from Chris giving those 2 great links. Thank you so much. Behind the scenes stuff.
Chris.
Of course, a better podcast would have this ready to go and already have this information, but we need our listeners to provide us. We just focus too much time on being banned from forums and Frank Stallone. We're going to kind of start off where we left off, go back a little bit because this whole sequence is hilarious. So the preacher dude has come in to find his people. It's been a couple of weeks since they were supposed to check in. They haven't checked in. Rambo asks the question to the preacher after he says he'll go. Aren't you going to say something?
But not for me, for them.
I just love mid-prayer. Oh, yeah, I got to make that knife.
He gets up and just leaves.
It's knife making nice Tuesday.
Aren't you going to say something?
I don't understand.
You should.
You mean a prayer?
Not for me, for them.
Yes.
Now, I love the prayer this guy has ready to go because it's very poetic. If I was a preacher, I'd be like, Dear God in heaven, big-headed man with long hair.
This man, please watch over this giant man, this giant head.
He's about to pick up some mercenaries, and the 5 of them are going to go against 100 people.
May God have mercy on the things that he's about to do.
Then God's going to answer him.
I may have mercy, but Rambo won't.
Lord, make me your instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring love.
Where there's hatred, let me bring love. And then Rambo's like, that's it, I'm out of here. Time to make a knife.
Father Carmine. Hey,
Yes.
that would have been great if he would have came in, Father Carmine.
Imagine it was Father Carmine that came here. He just so happens to work with these people too. That would actually connect the 2 universes together. Wouldn't that be
My
crazy?
God. That would be amazing.
Where there is injury, pardon.
Where there's injury, pardon. What does that mean? My leg's broken. I pardon your broken leg. Okay, thanks, brother.
Where there is doubt, faith.
That one
That
makes
would
sense.
make more sense.
Where there is despair, hope.
See, now the hope, of course, is Rambo. You know, the hope is Rambo.
Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that I may not seek to be
Now listen to the music there, Dom. What does it remind you of? What score?
joy. Grant that I may not seek to be consoled as to console. To be understood as to
Are you
understand.
thinking of another movie?
To be loved.
Yeah, from another movie.
I think it sounds like Terminator or something.
Yeah, T2. T2. It's almost a complete ripoff, quite frankly.
Right.
And Brian Tyler, I believe, is the guy that does the sound. Great soundtrack, by the way. It's just this part, he must have been influenced from that. It sounds very, very T2 sounding.
As to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in dying that we awake to eternal life.
So it's in dying that we wake to eternal life, and the big flames come out from the end of this machete being built.
Machete.
So what do you think of that prayer sequence with the knife building interplay? What do you think of that?
I think it's good. As I said, I think Father Carmine would have brought a little bit something more to the table. Rambo, John Rambo! Will you throw down a blessing for me and my friend John Rambo? Will you throw down the girl that asked me 400 times to drive them, ferry them to the Burma?
Would you mind not marrying them very much? All right, so Rambo's next day, daylight, is going off with this ferry. White Father Carmine saying goodbye to them. What I love here is the father waves, and Rambo actually waves back. Yo. Have we ever seen Rambo wave before?
No, I don't think so.
He's getting soft at his old age.
Yeah, he's definitely getting soft. I don't know. You would think he would just give like a very serious stare to him at that moment. Close up on his face or something.
Oh, we got some stairs coming up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're traversing now to meet up with the Mercs.
My head was mangled.
This scene here, folks, is he's picked up the mercenaries. We don't see that sequence on film, but he's picked them up from wherever. They're on the boat now, and they're all traveling. But this is where you get that, how do you say that word? When you're under obligation, obligatory. How do you say that word?
Obligatory?
Thank you. I hate that word. So this is where you get that type of sequence where you have to get a bit of the personalities of each of the soldiers, because you know we're going to lose a few of them throughout the movie, but so we have to get some sort of character.
They're clash with Rambo.
Right. There's going to be somebody that's going to clash with Rambo, clash with each other. They're too cool for school type people coming
There
out.
my words were torn, covered in blood like a newly born. Hey, the wishing well, sing it soft and low.
You know that song?
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
Do you?
No. Okay. So here they are on the boat. One guy's drinking. Of course, the English leader there looking out the front. Rambo steering the ship.
I stayed for a while in the hollow
Sounds like a
sound.
country type song.
The only water came up from the ground. Hey,
Look at this fucking place. Only a fucking ape would live here. What the fuck am I doing here?
The mercenaries are just basically their weapons for hire. That's why Rambo doesn't like mercenaries, because they don't fight for a cause.
They don't have a cause. They just fight.
Whoever the highest bidder. Now, usually,
so they don't give a shit.
They're mercenaries, so they all have military experience, whether it's from America, U.S., Australia, New Zealand. It doesn't matter. They all have experience in the military. Usually, they have experience. They retire from the military, and then they join. It's like the A-team. They join forces, and you can hire them to get your cat out of a tree or to get this missionary group out of captivity. So they've been hired. But what I don't understand, this guy's behavior is like he has military experience, and he's acting so angry about being in this foreign land. So these guys have seen real. Well, that's what I don't get is even I know in the Navy, I've been to foreign countries all around the world myself. I would never walk into, who would live in this place? I don't understand. What kind of place am I in right now? Like, why would he's acting like he's never been outside.
Like he's never been anywhere, right?
Yeah. It's odd behavior.
Hey, knock that shit off.
And you don't like the arts.
Now we're getting two other people talking. The guy singing, another guy telling him to stop singing, don't.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, and you don't like the arts.
Everybody's personality is different.
And you don't like shit. I like your sister, Diaz. She got a thing for retards.
So that's Stallone dialogue.
Okay, I remember back when I was in high school. Okay, what did we used to say to each other? Did you take her to the zoo?
What's with Sly writing that word at the films?
I know, right? Right in that they got fat backs.
That's right. I hear your sister has a fat rack.
So what the Reverend say to you?
Some shit about part of his flock going missing. I said to him, look, mate, that's what you get when you go trespassing into fucking Burma.
Something about his flock getting lost.
Like he obviously doesn't want to be there.
Now he's so angry. You didn't have to take the job.
Exactly.
You're a merc for hire.
You go trespassing into fucking Burma. That's what you get when you go sniffing around other people's garbage.
You know those generals in there are making a lot of money. Millions cranking out meth more than any other place on the fucking planet.
Bullshit.
Millions, moron.
Hell yeah, man. How do you think they pay for that shit on them? Fucking generals, biggest junkies of all of them.
It's noble, Lewis.
We got a little bit of a history lesson here. Yes, drugs and war. No surprises there. That's the most truth that's been spoken so far on this boat ride is yes, a little bit of a mini history lesson that, yeah, of course, there's drugs running rampant throughout the military and you know, the junkies are the generals are the ones. They're basically, it's a crime organization. Absolutely. Right. It's this guy. I don't know.
Very cynical. Very cynical.
Yeah, I know. But he's a tough guy, right? And now we have Schoolboy. He's now kind of the noble heart of the group. He's the last one to talk here. This is his first time to talk, so he's kind of the noble heart of the group.
You what?
Those people going in there with no weapons, just books and meds. It's noble.
Oi, Schoolboy. You stick your noble nose into other people's business, you get fucked up or you get dead. The only reason I'm doing this is for an ex-wife and 3 kids. And
He's divorced? That's weird.
How weird. It seems like such a lovable guy.
This shit is over, you can shove that soldiering right up your ass. Oi, boatman. Come on, chop chop! The quicker we get there, the quicker we get back.
So he's telling Rambo to move that boat faster. Look at that look right there.
Yeah. He's looking how he could just cut his throat right now.
I'll kill you 50 times.
I will rape you 50 times and cut your fucking head off. I need a t-shirt with that quote. I need like a bumper sticker or something.
Can you imagine how your cops would pull you over with that bumper sticker?
Immediately.
Those God squatters.
What's a God squatter? Oh, God squatter. I see squatter. Like you're part of the squad team. So they're God fanatics. Yeah.
Not a squatter. Squatter.
Squatter. SQUADDER. So yeah, they're part of the God squad. I see.
Got it.
They come over here, start doing all that shit. They expect the whole world to work like their fucking neighborhood. Well, it doesn't.
Well, guess what else isn't working, Buckaroo? The raping.
Right. Exactly.
The mess and drugs and murder. Like, at least their message isn't that.
So they send in the devil.
Points to himself.
To do God's work. It's ironic, isn't it?
This is a tough guy, eh? He calling himself the devil?
He doesn't even know who he's talking to right now.
Yeah, I know. The things Rambo has seen and done compared to this guy. You think about it in the world of this film, of this universe. Okay, just think about it. Think of all the events that have actually, even though this film aesthetically looks different than 3 and 2 and 1 even. But the character Rambo, who he is right now, think of all the events he's done between 3, 2, and then like compared to this guy.
Horror, like pure horror.
He's blown people up with bow and arrows. He's ripped people's heads off.
He's what he's thinking about right now, like all peacefully. He's thinking about all the people he's killed.
Am I boring you, mate?
No, you're irritating me.
Is it the trip? Has it got you nervous?
Such old, generic ways of teasing a tough guy. Are you scared?
As an outsider, say you're this guy and you're on this boat, like you see Rambo, he looks like he's been through some shit. I mean, I wouldn't assume that he's all nervous and stuff like that. I'd be like, I'm going to stay away from the guy that's not talking in the corner because he seems like he's crazy.
So got a good question from Louise here. I want to read it here. So it goes, Ryan, legitimate question. Have you ever run into people like this during your time in the military? Yes. there's always the tough guy, whether it's people to some degree. Yes, this personality type, absolutely. It is the reason why I can't wait to retire in 5 years sometimes, because there's some very toxic people in the military. Absolutely.
Do you think some of the people like this, it's like an armor?
Oh, of course. It's your classic chest thumping, look at me, look what I've done, and look who I am. Where it's just like, look at me, look how amazing I am. Why aren't you like me? And if you're not like me and you challenge me, then you're a hater and you're lazy. It's all these like, geez, man, just relax.
Because really, you should appreciate the action, you know what I mean? Got to be better than looking at the arse end of a snake.
Why did that comment trigger Rambo? So the guy's saying, look, you're taking us to a war-torn area. This has to be better than, catching snakes and feeding them.
I think this guy is looking at Rambo like he's just a ferry guy who does the snake shit on the side. Like, I don't know if he knows anything about him. And he's kind of like turning to him like, are you serious?
But it's enough that schoolboys looked over his shoulder. It's just kind of odd.
Do they have any knowledge about Rambo at this point? They
must. He must have done some sort of digging to know this guy has worked with snakes. And if he knows that much, he must know this guy's an ex-soldier.
Oh dear. You really are an uptight bastard, aren't you? You can drop the 1,000-yard stare. I've seen it all before. And I'm not impressed.
Says you can drop that 1,000-yard stare. I've seen it all before. I'm not impressed, but funny enough, he walks away because he's not getting a reaction. It's like any bully. If you don't give them a reaction, they get bored. They
lose their power.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's old school SAS. They're first-rate soldiers, but total egomaniacs. You know what's SPS, boys? We're not so heavy-handed.
So there's SCS and SBS. I'd have to Google that. Maybe somebody can who's in our chat really quick. SCS versus SBS. I think it's both UK Army or military type stuff. So I would assume that because he says here we like to use our brains, you know what I mean? So the other guys must be the kind of like grunt soldiers, infantry type, and these guys are more maybe officer type people. Who knows?
We like to use our brains, you know what I mean? They call me Schoolboy. The name stuck with me since sniper school. And my mates won't stop calling me it no matter how many people I shoot.
I guess the idea there is that he's a goody-goody maybe a little bit, or?
Right. A little bit.
So, but he's killed people and he's good at it, but they still call him that despite being good at his job, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The little slight shake of his head there. You see that of Rambo's head?
Yeah.
He's like, ugh.
I got to be with these people.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're getting that exterior shot, of course, of the prison camp at night. And Sarah's still tied up. Now, if she's been captured for 2 weeks, have they done nothing to her?
I was just going to say the same thing. I was thinking it in the last episode, too. Not to go there, but like,
I know.
I think they would have done a lot to her at this point.
A white American in your holding of all these men and soldiers, and she hasn't been touched yet. It looks like she hasn't been. Like, I don't think there's any indication in the film that she has. To say she's still wearing her clothes. There's no rips or tears to her clothing or anything. I
guess they didn't want to go to that dark place. But like realistically, I wouldn't even see her being alive anymore at this point, to be honest.
No, they didn't want to go to that dark place that they would, physically assault a white woman. But they do, we do know that he's a pedophile later on. But.
Right, exactly.
Because right now, what do you want from us? Yeah, what do you want from us? She's yelling, "What do you want from us?" Which would indicate nothing's happened to her yet.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still untainted.
It's not like they have a reason to hold her. Like they're going to get something out of having her.
Yeah, they haven't indicated any kind of maybe they are thinking ransom. Maybe. I love how Rambo knows where to go. Like it's like, okay, this tree. Right. They're getting off the boat. They got made their stop. The Karen people have sent their reinforcements right here.
One man and a kid, you've got to be fucking joking. This all the rebels they put up.
I'm not liking it.
You're in a fucking jungle, puss nuts. There's nothing to like.
How you doing?
Puss nuts? Have you?
It's a good one, honestly. I'm saving that. Puss nuts.
My name is Nian. This is Ta.
Is this it?
Yes.
What's up with the kid, man?
He good tracker.
We don't need a tracker, we need a fucking guide.
Isn't that the same thing? We don't need a tractor. We need a guide. Well, yes, a tracker means they're able to see when people have come and gone throughout the forest, like where how long have they been in this camp for, where they headed, and then he will guide you in the direction you should go in.
Right.
You know the exact location, right?
10 kilometers west. 2 north, 6 to a walk.
How many soldiers?
100, maybe.
100? What did he say?
More new soldiers. Come tomorrow.
Yeah, I know I'm just a white trash grunt, but I can count. Fucking with 100
All right. Let's get this straight. We don't engage anybody. If we can extract these people, good. But it's in, out, clean, or we fuck off.
Somebody want to tell me what the boatman's doing?
So their mission, as they understand it now, this seems very ragtag here, don't you think? They have no intel other than what they just received now. So they're up against at least 100 people. Okay, that's fair. More coming each day. Their idea is just to walk into camp and somehow extract them from the...
What is there, about 12 of them or so?
No, there's like 5 of them. 5 or 6 now.
5 of them. Sure.
I get it looks like 5 or 6. Let's just say 6 plus the new guy 7.
Right.
Remember when Rambo took out the POWs in part 2? That's how you extract men. That's how you do it, folks.
That's how he had a game plan.
What's the boatman doing?
Why aren't you waiting with the boat?
My men are staying with the boat.
You're the boatman. You stay with the boat.
I won't slow you down.
Yeah, I know you won't. It's not a fucking nature hike.
Believe that.
You can hang with me at the back.
Hey, he stays here. He's the boatman. He stays with the fucking boat.
What? They were just complaining about why'd you bring a kid? Wouldn't you be like, hey, you know what? This guy wants to come and he might be able to help us out. He's not going to let him come.
That's why I question how much they know about Rambo at this point.
Oh.
I feel like if they knew his whole military background, they wouldn't be saying this to him.
They keep calling him the boatman to indicate.
And the snakes, he brought up the snakes, yeah, this guy does snakes.
Did you see my third film?
Contrary to popular belief, I don't just tame snakes or anything like that.
I know I just drive a boat, but I couldn't get a job booking cars.
Let me tell you about my friend that was driving the car. His name is Jushan.
He just goes into it.
I want a white man on the nuts on fucking dink. Now he's got explosives. Tombstone.
Oh, wait, what do you say there? I gotta go back there.
Something about a white
in nature hike.
Believe that.
You can hang with me at the back.
Hey, he stays here. He's the boatman. He stays with the fucking boat. I want a white man on and not some fucking...
I want a white man on and not some dink.
Oh, jeez.
What the hell's a dink?
I don't know what a dink is. But I think we used to say that as a kid. We used to call other kids, hey, you dink. Is another word. You never heard that?
No.
It's another word for penis.
Okay.
But I think he's being racial with it here. He wants a white guy in the boat because he doesn't trust them to stay with the boat. He thinks they'll leave.
Right.
That's their ride back. So when they
I didn't know what he was saying. I thought he was talking more derogatory about Rambo, but
no, he's being totally racist. He's just saying, I want a like at the end of the day, he's just being racist. He's saying, I want a white man on the boat because he won't steal it. These other people will steal it.
Right.
Yeah.
Dink. Now he's got explosives. Tombstone.
None. Found a C4 primer.
They're doing their weapon count now. They've made it to the location.
It's a horrible plan.
It's a horrible plan. You do your weapon and ammo count and everything before you load on the boat.
This is almost as bad as Troutman's plan from 3 in the beginning of 3.
They're lasting longer than Troutman did so far. One guy has 1 pound of C4 and a primer.
His name is Tombstone.
Tombstone, yeah. And this guy's name is N. June.
I've got a claymore.
He's got a claymore. And Rambo's hearing what they have. He's thinking, oh, boy.
I got that on my boat right now. If you let me come with you. I might be old, but I got stuff.
All right. Let's get on with it. Come on, move.
All right, so that's where we're going to stop it. We know Rambo won't stop there or stay there. He's
definitely not.
He's going to follow them behind for sure. We do appreciate those who do listen to the show, who enjoy our banter and being light on things. We do apologize. We never mean to hurt. What I'm saying is we don't mean to hurt anybody. And I found within the Sly fandom, for some reason, very protective.
In certain fan groups, there's always those groups.
Well, I've been criticized before. This is the first time for this podcast. I knew it would come, but I won't say any names. People who know. But on the Rocky podcast, I was from a high-ranking Sly fan.
High-ranking Sly general.
I was called out for doing what I do, and it's just like, ugh, I make a meme here or something. It's just like, it's like I'm making fun of religion or some sort of belief system, and I think that's where it gets a little bit mucky. Is
you gotta have a sense of humor.
Even within your own religion, you should have a sense of humor.
Who gives a shit?
I don't know.
I don't care. Anybody can say anything to me.
So, because it's somebody's mother, I understand that. But Sly is somebody's father. Frank is somebody's something. Everyone Trump is somebody's father. Right. Biden is somebody's grandfather. At the end of the day, somebody is somebody, right? But they all get made fun of in memes and AI generated stuff. Some of it's very crass, and we hope we never step into those lines. I'm just saying there are certain individuals within our fandom where it's like, oof, why did they do that to themselves? I wouldn't do that. And yeah, so if we used humor to make a point, our intention wasn't just to criticize and dump on somebody, but I still stand by. I think plastic surgery wrecks people's faces. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's all.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. All right. And also our other hope is that Sly doesn't do it to himself anymore. Stop.
Right. The only thing I really don't stand by is fatbacks. I just don't support anybody with a fatback, especially girls.
Yeah, especially girls. Yeah. Girls with fatbacks. Gross. Get to the gym, you lazy. Come on.
You're going to be walking around like that. They don't shame me. They shame themselves.
Yeah. Say, remember, watch The Family Stallone anytime after 12.
Just, wait until, listen, no matter where you are, if you watch this 12 o'clock, it's out there. You can watch it in the daytime.
12 o'clock Frank time.
Exactly, 12 o'clock Frank time.
All right. With that, the episode is over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off. It wasn't my podcast. You asked me to co-host. I didn't ask you.